Intro.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Christian Coffins.
DarkDox, digest. DarkDox, digest. DarkDox, digest. DarkDox, digest.
Welcome to the April 2nd, 2025, Wednesday edition of the DarkDox Digest with your host, Christian Coffins.
DarkDox, digest. DarkDox, digest.
All right, that's weird not being able to hear the intro like that. I am your host, Christian Coffins, and we have a special guest today. This is a special episode. Definitely share the link. We are live. Hello, Black Sheep in the chat. I'm here live with a Freemason cop here in Florida. His name is Captain Charlie Bravo, and we're going to, talk about all kinds of stuff, and we're looking at your chat. Hey, what's up, Ian West? So why don't you introduce yourself, Captain Charlie Bravo, and let us know, what's your background, what got you into all of this, and all of that.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for having me. Appreciate it, first off. So I'll take you back a few years. I'm from Pennsylvania originally. I went to college out there, graduated college. I lived in Philadelphia for a while. I worked for this company called Ferguson Enterprises. I worked in the HVAC division, selling air conditioners, parts and supplies to the contractors. Did that for about 10 years. I moved all around the country with him. I was living in Miami at that time. And COVID happened. And I was just looking at the way things were going. I was already concerned way before that. So I decided to get into law enforcement, funny enough. And so I just quit that job and got in law enforcement. So this May will make 5 years I've been in law enforcement. I've worked in the jail for about a year. I've worked in the courthouse. I've done patrol. I've done days. I've done nights. Currently, I work as a school resource officer. So I'm just a cop at a school to make sure nobody shoots it up, basically. And yes, I'm also a Freemason. I became a Mason in March of 2021. What originally got me started into that, I don't have any Mason in my family. My dad's not, my grandpa, nobody is that I'm aware of. I was in a college fraternity, Greek life. That's how I found out about Masons. When I moved to Miami, I had some extended family, some cousins, didn't really know a whole lot of people. But I was like, man, who could I hang out with that, that's doing something that aren't losers, people you can trust? And I was like, oh, yeah, Freemason. So reached out to them, went through the process, and then, so I started March 2021. So this will be about, 4 years. I got in Scottish Rite Masonry, 32nd degree. It's not as crazy as it sounds, really pretty easy to do. And I'm also in the grotto.
Wow. That's quite a resume, indeed. What part of Miami were you in? I actually grew up in Virginia Gardens, Miami Springs. So I went to Miami Springs Senior High.
Okay, I lived in Doral.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great. I'm crazy. I had friends in Costa del Sol. I had friends in just all of those neighborhoods. I grew up there, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I lived there for about 3 years.
All right.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. I love Miami. It's not for everybody, but I really enjoyed my time there for sure.
Yeah, Like, I mean, growing up there, it was definitely interesting. I mean, I was in the punk scene back in the 90s, like when like Against All Authority was still local. Marilyn Manson was playing at Churchill's with the spooky kids, and all of that. But yeah, I don't know. It got weird by the time I got to college, and just like so much construction, and with the Palmetto Expressway, and so many people moving to it became like overrun, and like the crime was like way up, and it was just nuts, and so I was really happy to come here to Central Florida. I've been here for about 14, 15 years now, and
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I love the food and like the culture and stuff. Some of it anyway, down there in Miami, and but yeah, I don't know. It's something else. I'll tell you what though, like growing up in Miami, I'm the best driver. I can get you out of any hairy situation. I could
I
drive
believe
any
that.
vehicle. Like, I mean, just I've like avoided so many because people drive like shit here in Orlando. You got a lot of people coming in with rental cars from all over the world going to the theme park, Disney and Universal and stuff. So it's just we're like an accident capital here in Central Florida for that reason alone, and just so much congestion and constant construction and expansion. So like, I mean, yeah, like you learn to be more than a defensive driver, but just like an offensive driver in Miami. So that's one thing I appreciate, having that skill set. Saved my life several times driving, across country and stuff.
Definitely
Um,
believe that. Yep.
but yeah, anything you want to tackle first before we get into? You sent me some links I have tabbed out. We can kind of jump back and forth between those.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, at least for the viewers, probably like at least from, I guess, from my law enforcement side, the Lee County Sheriff is under FBI investigation,
Right.
which is, I mean, this guy, I mean, it's like hardcore red here, like, oh, we Republican, like so I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, he's been a good sheriff, they don't care, but I mean, Bro, he's sketchy. This guy's sketchy, man. Like, if you research his whole past, like he's had problems like the polygraph, and he's Italian from New York who moved to Naples. Is like,
So
his
this is
dad.
the federal investigation involving Sheriff Carmine Marceno. Sounds like a mafia name. And
Yeah,
LCSO.
yeah. LCSO, Lee County Sheriff's Office.
Got
Carmine
it. Link in the
Marcino is
description
the
for everyone
sheriff.
watching.
Yep. He got elected. I think. Dang, I have to look into it or look up the date. I think he got appointed by Scott, perhaps appointed him, and then he won re-election, and then he just won again recently. So I think this is his second election that he's won. So people really do like him, but man, like if you just research his past, and he's this sketch,
I
the
see.
sketch, like
Yeah, Wink
yeah.
News has exclusively obtained a letter warning ranking government leaders in Lee County that money trouble could be brewing within the sheriff's office and Carmine Marceno. The Lee County Clerk of Courts and Comptroller Kevin Carnes sent a letter to the Lee County Manager and others saying that in light of public allegations and fraud within the Lee County Sheriff's Office, he felt compelled to notify the County Commissioner of financial risk or risk the county may face. Knowing what we know, we asked Carnes if his concerns have grown. So what is he actually being charged with here?
So he has not been officially charged
Got it.
yet. So
Just investigated.
yeah, he's just currently be under investigation. So how this all he's had a spotty past before. He with his polygraph to his like actual law enforcement credentials. From what I know, what I've heard, and how I work there, he does not do any interviews. Like we have our own public information office at the sheriff's office. They're all controlled interviews that he does only with the sheriff's office. Like you can't just like, hey, what about this? Like ask him. Like he does not do any interviews at all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's a red
um,
flag.
yeah,
For
I
any
would
public
say some
servants.
people.
I mean, because that's the thing. It's like it's literally called a public servant. It's like, so if like you're not, there's no transparency there. It's like, who are you really serving here?
100%, totally agree. And so this past recent election, his political opponent brought this to light. So I will admit, yes, it is a political opponent that brought all these allegations to light. However, the person that was running against him from sheriff, that's who brought it to light, his political opponent, he made a sworn statement to the FBI as an active law enforcement officer about the fraud allegations. So I personally believe that he's not going to put himself out there like that just for political gains, like to go to like federal prison over that. So I think there's at least something to it.
Yeah, I mean, it says right here, for months, Marcino has been the center of allegations surrounding videos like this one, where he's seen taking cash from a Bonita Springs jeweler.
Yes, that is also sketch. He literally
That's
video of him
wild.
holding.
I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
and he has no comment. Like, okay,
he said he just said like, oh yeah, it was like a legal transaction. It's like, oh, okay.
okay. Yeah, so he was like selling some jewelry.
Yeah, something like that. He was like buying or selling jewelry. Yeah, that's what
I
it
mean, if he's
is.
buying and they're handing him cash, then.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah,
Yeah.
huh? Yeah. So I guess this is another. That's the thing. It's like, we need accountability. And I mean, I don't care where the allegations come from. I think it's really annoying how in this like kind of political climate you have, a lot of people saying, for example, like with Trump, they're like, oh, he's just going after his political opponents. It's like, no, we have evidence that they committed crimes. It doesn't matter where the allegations come from if they are substantial and there's evidence that needs to be at least investigated, and they need to answer for this. They need to be interrogated. They need to be detained by law enforcement and interrogated like if you or I did it. I mean, even though you're law enforcement, isn't that the standard you would be held to?
Yeah, like if a regular deputy was accused of that, yeah, it would be definitely like it would be different from a civilian to law enforcement officer to the sheriff. Like they're definitely gonna treat a regular deputy like do the sheriff. 100% no.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we got to keep an eye on these people, and so that's the kind of nice thing about like, because a lot of people are like, let's just have a one-party system now that like the Democrats are clearly a terrorist organization. Do you agree with that? Do you think that the Democratic Party as a whole should be deemed an actual official domestic terrorist organization?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know if I would personally believe that we should go to that extreme, just because I feel like there are some good people within that party and some
Absolutely.
that have.
But
and
I
wanna
mean,
have,
it's really the reason why people are making the argument is because of RICO charges, which is, of course, we covered it a couple shows ago. That's racketeering and coercion using a criminal organization or a network. And it's what they use in The Dark Knight, for example, with Christian Bale and Heath Ledger, where when you have an organized crime network and you actually have evidence showing that they are all affiliated, which of course they are. It's the Democratic Party, it's the DNC, it's John Podesta, it's Hillary Clinton, it's Bill Clinton, and how their organizations have funded NGOs that have funded protesters, quote unquote, actually domestic terrorists, who paid for the bricks on pallets at the riots, and all of that. So, and then the idea is you arrest all of them, and then of course there's going to be rats that want to make a deal. So you slap them on the wrist in exchange for intel to get the higher ups.
I mean, I sure, I guess I'd be open to it. I guess I just would urge caution, because I feel like you could apply that label to any group if the government, whoever wants to do that. But
Yeah, it's a very it's a bold move, but I mean, at this point, what do you think about like these activist judges, for example, that are like overstepping their judicial powers? Because pretty much the way it's at now is that you have to have, I think it's over 400 of these judges to all agree on anything that Trump is doing. I mean, so there's some constitutional grounds to have Congress just simply remove these courts. Have you been following any of that?
I've heard about some of that. I mean, I think that I feel like for a long time judges have abused their authorities and made bad rulings. So if someone's going to take action on that to remove bad judges that aren't doing their part in the judicial system, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I mean, what we're finding out now is a lot of I think it's something like 1 or 2 thirds. I heard today of these judges, they're actually not U.S. born. A lot of them are Mexican, and they're citizens, of course. You do have to be a citizen of the United States to be a judge, fortunately. But they have no history of being judges. Before that, a lot of them were working for these NGOs and stuff, and then they made their ranks through those private organizations, and then just got bumped over because these are Biden appointees. So yeah, I mean that was something
Right.
that they were talking about a lot on Infowars today, and apparently there's a lot of congressional hearings that happened today involving that topic. So so let's see what's going on next here in the tabs. Minimize this and bring this back up. All the buttons. If you're on X, we are Sacred Owls Unite. You sent me over Fox 2 Detroit, Michigan AG Department of Corrections push for law allowing cell phone jammers in prisons. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I saw that, and I feel like from a civilian standpoint, this bad. And I feel like they really, because that it just opens a door for more surveillance and jamming outside of the prisons. And I know that this is just like, oh, at first it's gonna be the prisons, then it's like, oh, well, then the police should have it for drug dealers and criminals, and then we should just have it. We can just turn your phone off. And I feel like it's a slippery slope, and I feel like people don't realize how much even local police in certain jurisdictions surveil their citizens, law-abiding citizens.
Yeah. And I
it's a
mean, it's
big
our
problem.
taxpayer dollars going in to surveil ourselves. And
100%.
also, putting yourself at risk of, I mean, they could be investigating you and then just listening in on everything, and then oh, we got him saying something like this, which is you can get one of these judges to give you a warrant, give you probable cause to arrest, this person, for, I'm really glad to hear that from a law enforcement perspective that, it is a very slippery slope and it's going in a wrong way. If it doesn't serve the American people, then what are we doing? Those law enforcement hours, the personnel could be used better to, I mean, we got rapes, we got murders, we got, all kinds of terrible things happening. In addition to the waste, fraud, and abuse, we could have law enforcement actually investigating some of those things as well, on the state level and, of course, federal level. But even local, crime and petty larceny, and it's there's all kinds of crimes that, not just the violent ones, that law enforcement is way overwhelmed with as it is. But you're going to be tasking and paying for them to be this, being snoops. Push for a
100%.
law change that would allow prisons to deploy cell phone jammers is growing, with officials and organizations calling for Congress to approve such measures. Cell phone jammers block signals transmitted between cell phones to stop them from working, or they are currently banned in the U.S. Is that true? I mean,
They are illegal.
That's really interesting, because the Bohemian Grove, when I went up there both times, and all of the other members of Resist the Grove say that they experienced the same phenomenon. Well, it's on the top of a mountain, Count Dracula and shit. And when you get within about a mile of the Bohemian Grove, our cell phone GPS stopped working. We weren't able to make phone calls. We weren't able to stream live on the internet. We weren't able to connect via hotspot through our phone for our laptops. So they're clearly using jamming up there at the Bohemian Grove, unless it's just a coincidence or the fact that they're on a bunch of ley lines.
So from what I know, from like what I've been in law enforcement, I mean, there are some possible areas that if people know that you could go on purpose where you know there's not cell phone service. But it could be a combination of that with a jammer on top of that.
Okay. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it is a kind of rural area, I suppose. Um, but yeah, then it
the
has the
way,
topography. You got those trees up there, so I mean, there might be a rational answer to it, but yeah,
yeah,
we always just
um,
assumed it was jammers, but I didn't know they were
it
illegal.
could. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard because like it's. I mean, you would have to like catch them with it. There have been some cases where people have been like using them and like we're like neighbors are like, why can't I like why is this not working or this or that?
Yeah,
A good way to tell is like if you don't have cell phone service, all of a sudden Wi-Fi, like your camera's cut out, like because there's different wavelengths that you can jam, and if you have like a jammer that has multi-band, you can jam all or like multiple frequencies. So if multiple different type devices with like different like quote signals start like not working, that's a good way to tell.
yeah, absolutely. So the argument being made for this is contraband cell phone pose a serious risk to public safety when criminals reach beyond prison walls and continue terrorizing our communities. He said, I mean, like you could argue, like for example, yeah, I want to get your take on all these swattings, that have been happening, all across the nation as well. Of course, and yeah, because if you have one of these, pay as you go phones or whatever that you typically get one of these what they call burner phones, you could like call a SWAT from prison. Do you think that's happening, or do you think that's a threat, or do you think there's a lot of speculation that there's like this Ukrainian hit list that like Alex Jones, Owen Schroyer, and a lot of people, including Nick's what was his name? Uh, that's Jamie White over there, who got shot and killed in Austin, Texas, like 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that might be a play here, or what do you think about all that?
Just from working on the road, I mean, swatting someone is very easy nowadays, and
Yeah.
you can make it seem very real by what you say and this and that. And now with AI,
Right.
it's definitely very. I've responded to swatting calls where like, oh my god, I'm being kidnapped. Some people are dying. You need to get here. I got a gun. Like, and you're going in hot,
Yeah.
like hot. Like I'm getting there. Like, well, I'm going 120 literally to get there. Um, and that's very dangerous obviously for everyone
Yeah.
because you get there and all of a sudden like you're like super aggressive,
Because
they don't
your
know what the
adrenaline's
fuck's.
pumping because you're just it's running through your head all the stuff
Yeah,
they were saying on the call, and I mean
right,
it's a serious
yeah, and then you get there
information
and those people
weapon.
have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. They're like, what are you even talking about? And then you realize like, oh wait, this was a swatting call.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's upset. We're upset, they're upset, everyone's unhappy. It's a no-win for anybody. Yeah, it should be definitely be a crime. If it's not, I honestly don't know. Thing is, like you
Well,
said,
yeah.
with like
The
burner
annoying thing
phones.
is it's a slap on the wrist. It's if you actually do get caught for it, it's filing a false report, which is a misdemeanor in a
Yeah,
lot of places.
right.
But really, I like Alex Jones' take on it, where it's attempted murder every single time, not just for the person you're calling on, but also for the law enforcement. Because, like, I got all kinds of guns around the house, and they're totally loaded because I'm Christian Coffins, and like, I'm
Yeah.
not high profile, but I'm medium profile. Like, I've had death threats and stuff for decades doing this stuff, and being in Sacred Owls and exposing pedophiles, and during the Pizzagate, during COVID, when we were like playing venues during the lockdowns, like the left like was going crazy and calling us Nazis. Anytime we play somewhere, we got people spray painting, their little Antifa 3 arrows pointed
Hmm.
down and to the left. for down with capitalism, down with fascism, whatever, and throwing eggs and, also not us, but Michael Graves, the singer from the Misfits after Glenn Danzig back in the 90s and early 2000s. He has like a solo career now, and he goes tours, and so because he's on InfoWars and stuff like that, and he's been on Steve Bannon's War Room and things like that, that they're swatting the venues that he's playing at, so like he can't even tour anymore because it's just like he's just like a guy, with a merch box and like a backing band sometimes, and he plays solo a lot, like, but it's like, I don't know, like I don't give it. I mean, I do give a shit, but like I'm kind of more of a like fuck around and find out, and like there's no press, like there's no such thing as bad press. So like I don't encourage it. I definitely discourage anyone from like fucking with my band on tour. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have my son start playing drums for us, and my fiance's she's working on the bass parts, and we're gonna go out on the road, and if anyone tries to fuck with my son or my woman, like I'm gonna shoot you down dead, So,
Hell yeah,
I
bro.
don't want that to happen, but fuck around and find out. And I think that's the attitude we all have to kind of have here. What's your take from a law enforcement perspective on all that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, definitely 100% believe you have the right to defend yourself in public, in private. I honestly don't think there should be any gun-free zones at all. And yeah,
Including like
lo-
courthouses and universities and
100%.
everywhere. Yeah, I'm with
Everywhere.
you. And I'm. What do you think about open carry in Florida? I've been a supporter of open carry in Florida. I mean, for decades now. They've
I
been
mean,
pushing for it.
we're up there with all the liberal states, Hawaii and all these. It's disgraceful. I mean, all these
Yeah.
neocons that are in our Congress and Senate, they're fake. They should all be voted out. They're not pro Second Amendment. They're against it, and it's been an issue for some years, as we can see. I think it's literally one of the two states that has permitless carry, but not open carry, and it's like Florida, Hawaii, and like Rhode Island, or like some weird. It's like literally some all liberal states that we're up there with.
Yeah, I was shocked. Because when I got my concealed carry when I was 18, so that was 2001. I was born 9/11/83, so 9/11/2001 was my 18th birthday. And yeah, the very next week I went out and got. I went to the Department of Agriculture and got my concealed weapons permit. And at the time, the commissioner of the Department of Agriculture was also named Charles Bronson. So like, how cool it is! Like a license to kill from Death Wish. Like that's the most like badass, So when I got it renewed, we had a new commissioner. I was like, but
That's funny.
yeah, I went to go get a gun, and they're like, "Oh, well, you got to wait 3 days and this and that." I'm like, "Huh?" And they were explaining like, unless you get a concealed weapons permit, that's the only reason why I was really interested in doing it. Because at the time, I wasn't even really thinking about just walking around with it, but I thought you could just do that. Like I didn't know you couldn't have if you're an adult, that you couldn't just have a gun in your jacket, or I didn't see anyone open carrying, so I'm like, I guess you can't, like.
Yeah.
And I've heard about like brandishing a firearm is a felony. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we should totally have open carry, because I feel like crime would go whenever there's open carry and you just see soccer moms with a Glock on her hip. Like, A, it's hot, but B, it's hot. Like it's hot out. It's Florida, so it's annoying. Like I have to wear like a trench coat, like if I want like my 6-shooter. So like I've now like started using like a side saddle, which is like pretty much a fanny pack, but on your side, and it straps around your legs, so you look like a character from Resident Evil a little bit. But it's like nice and convenient. It's off to one side, and you can like also like keep your cell phone and like a switchblade. And when I go out like out in the woods and stuff, like it's fantastic to have. But I should be able to open. We all should be able to just open carry. It's our Second Amendment of the Bill of Rights under the Constitution, and so it's like I feel like if you need a permit for a God-given right, then what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, 100% agree. it's really disgraceful that it hasn't been passed. And really, overall, in terms of like gun rights, like I mean, I lived in Pennsylvania before, and like Florida, at least when I was like more into like the stats and stuff, like NRA gave Florida a B, Pennsylvania an A minus, I think, something like that. It was pretty high. Like Pennsylvania, I think still to this day you can carry concealed when you're intoxicated, even open carry. I think you can carry
In Pennsylvania?
intoxicated. Yeah, legally. You can carry
Huh.
inside bars legally.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's a lot of freedom that I think we're getting closer. The permitless carry was 100% step in the right direction.
I mean, I think the idea, you know, if we have like swift death penalties, you know, with like, you know, enough evidence, like it just kind of like it kind of works out where, you know, if you're drunk and you fuck around, well, like it's, you know, now we're done with that person, and then we can, you know, how do you feel about the death penalty as a law enforcement officer?
Yeah, probably not gonna be a popular answer, but I'm actually against it.
Okay. We don't have to agree on everything.
Yeah. I just from working. I mean, honestly, even if my personal opinion, if you believe, I believe that like just from working in the jail, like from a punishment standpoint, like you want to talk about like what's harsher, like sitting in jail literally until the day you die, or
Absolutely,
just
it's harsher. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, to me,
Like,
that's why I consider it torture to a certain degree. I'm for abolishing the prison system entirely. That like it's just it doesn't work. It's corrupt. I mean, we literally made the Shawshank Redemption about how there was corruption all the way back in, you know, since the beginning of the privatization of the prison industrial complex. But like, yeah, it's a burden on taxpayers. It's a, you know, there is no rehabilitation. That's a joke. You come out worse. They talk about it in the movie Blow with Johnny Depp and Penelope Cruz and Pee Wee Herman or whatever his real name was. Paul Rubin, rest in peace. But yeah, you know, I mean, it's true. Like you go in there, like for, you know, sometimes nothing, you know, like you were wrongfully accused or this or that, or, you know, it's like whatever. As I'm sure you are well aware, there's so many ways for cops to twist things and get a conviction when like, that was kind of shady. And, you know, then like, we talk about people with DNA evidence and, you know, all these things. So, and then just putting them in there with like the worst of the worst, the scum of the society, the most dangerous people. And, you know, I know there's Gen Pop, and then there's like, you know, solitary, and then there's like certain wards for certain kinds of people. But like it's all bullshit. Like I feel like you're either guilty of something bad enough like to like be offed, or you can like be in some sort of some sort of like halfway house situation, you know, where you're under surveillance, you know, ankle monitors, fine, whatever. Like maybe you can't, but like still have a job, still, you know, but like, I don't know. What do you think about all that?
My view is that when you get the government involved in these type of things, this is a perfect example of its inefficiency. And I think the correctional facilities are filled with people who shouldn't be there. And then we have not enough people on the streets that should be in there.
Right.
And
or, you know, then good officers like you arrest them, and then they get released by these Democrat, judges and, you know, district attorneys. And I mean, it's insane. You have people that are arrested for the same crime 12 times in New York, and then they murder somebody. Like, you know, it's like, what do you do with these people?
Yeah, it is really fucked up, because I really feel like they are. It's just like I said. I feel like it's just the symptom of government inefficiency and bureaucracy, that we are way too easy on the people we should be hard on, and we're way too hard on the people that we should be easy on. It's all fucked up, and it's just the government is not doing a good job enforcing the laws in an efficient, ethical way.
I couldn't have said it better myself. How do you feel about like the J6ers, for example?
You know, see, the thing is, when you get caught in like some fucking political fight, the you know, quote, suspect is going to bear the brunt of it. So you're fucking caught in this. Obviously, the government never, ever, ever wanted to submit their wrong, or they made a mistake, or they overstepped their authority, or portrayed it one way when it was really this way. So they're going to defend their positions at all fucking costs, at all costs.
Right.
And you're fucked. If you're one of the people that they arrested, you're fucked. You're
The
not going to
official
win. Yes,
Freemason law enforcement perspective is you're fucked.
you're fucked. Unless you get Trump or somebody to pardon you, or you got a lot of money for like a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah, I mean, so far, like, the pardons have, they didn't go smoothly. You had people also in the prison system trying to block his pardons, and some of them didn't get out for a couple of weeks. And they were trying to oh, well, it wasn't exactly J6 that we got him on. It was actually there was that Jeremy Brown case where the FBI literally was trying to get him to become an agent provocateur, and he has it on tape.
That's crazy.
Are you familiar with that case?
I haven't heard about that, but I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I'll send you some links. That shit is wild. They did an interview on Alex Jones when they released him finally, but it's still, and a lot of them are like still on probation. When it's like a pardon's a pardon, like no probation, like it's a pardon.
And speaking of like not releasing people like how they should, like Department of Justice actually investigated. Is it Alabama? I don't know. It's some like deep South state. They were, I think it was Louisiana. Louisiana. They were literally just holding people past the release date. They just didn't give a fuck. They literally did not give a fuck. They're like, nah, we're just gonna hold you longer. Straight up, we don't give a fuck.
Lawless. Like when law enforcement is acting lawlessly, like we're in trouble.
So yeah, but to that, yeah, if you get caught in that, yeah, just get a good lawyer.
Wild. All right, let's see what's next on the docket. Texas Senate passes bill mandating sheriff cooperation with ICE. The bill also grants Attorney General office the authority to sue sheriffs if they are found to be non-compliant with law. What's your take?
See, this is be careful what you ask for type thing, in my opinion, because I personally believe that the constitutionally elected sheriff, at the end of the day, has all authority. He can enforce whatever laws he wants in his county, or he can not enforce certain laws in that county. And I think you see examples of that throughout the country.
I mean, that is how it's written. That's the way I read it anyway,
Yes, that's how it's been going. I mean, look at marijuana, guns, immigration. There's sheriffs that choose not to enforce those laws. There's counties in Arizona that the sheriff says, well, you don't have to have a tax stamp. We will not enforce it. We don't care. And so whether or not your local law enforcement wants to collaborate, now they want to essentially arrest the sheriff for doing that. I think it's just be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, and I really appreciate your perspective on this, because you kind of just convinced me. Like, I was like, I never thought about it that way. It reminds me of, I've been watching this mini-series based on the movie Fargo. It's called Fargo on FX. And I think the most recent season, whether it was 5th or 6th or whatever, it centers around a sheriff. And he's super MAGA, cowboy hat, and he runs his town like he's the president of that town. And of course the feds come in, and because one of his ex-wives, who was in witness protection, that he was like looking at, he was trying to find her and whatever. Long story short, like he ends up having like a showdown between him and like his deputies and everything, and like the feds, over this ex-wife of his. And it's a fantastic, very entertaining season for sure. But yeah, it's funny because they paint him to be the bad guy, and in a lot of ways this character, just in that story, he is. He's broken all kinds of laws, and like he's doing things out of a vendetta and a need for control. But it's interesting how, like, I always pay attention to the predictive programming and the writing of, like, I binge all these things, like, not just for entertainment, but like to see what the programming is, and what are they trying to disseminate to the normies. You can kind of not be programmed by it, by understanding how the programming works. And it seems like there is a push for more federalization and, less, pretty much trying to make anyone that's local law enforcement or local anything be like, you don't have the authority. It's like an appeal to authority kind of
Yes.
narrative.
Yes, I think a good display of local authority and how powerful it really is, because I believe, in like day to day in life, it really is the highest. Is look at COVID. There was counties, towns that shut everything down,
Right.
and there was counties and townies that said, we don't give a fuck what the state says. We're not going to shut the fuck down. So it
Yeah,
can go either
no,
way.
you're absolutely right. You've totally changed my. It's all about smaller government, and decentralizing in order to have less power, or else you get the wrong guy in power, and you have a very quick, real Nazi Germany, situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think
no, you're
there should be
absolutely right. Yeah, you
a
convinced me.
balance, but I think there should be a balance. If you do have like out of control sheriff that is like violating everyone's rights or like doing whatever, it should be some
Right, like
balance.
what
But
do
yeah,
you
I
do with
think
that situation? Do you have like more like tribal, like surrounding sheriffs go in and like have like a small civil war with that? Do you have rival sheriffs?
I I believe that the governor can remove sheriffs. So I guess I would just say that if it was really that bad, that if the citizens there made a big enough deal to the sheriff or the state department investigated it, that something would happen.
Yeah, deal with like the governor first, and then if they,
Right.
if the governor can't do it, then you have to declare a state of emergency, essentially.
Right. Yeah. Which. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that would just probably be the appropriate, logical next step.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. So, do you think that Immigrations and Customs Enforcement has the authority as a federal agency if, like, the sheriff's department won't cooperate? Like, for them to just be like, okay, well, we don't need you. We're going to go do our thing. Like, does the sheriff have a right to stop ICE from doing its federal duties?
See, the thing
That's
is, I
where it
mean,
gets hairy,
there's like,
right?
yeah, I mean, that would be, I mean, so there's been cases in the past where the sheriff said, if the feds come in here, we're going to arrest the federal agents.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, we'll send 500 federal agents. And then the sheriff said, oh, I'll deputize my whole county. And then we'll literally all arrest whoever comes.
Wow.
Do I foresee any sheriff in this political climate? All these liberals like Boston was like, yeah, we're going to stop ICE. Okay, then send your local police department and arrest them when they come in. Well, until that happens, nobody's going to do shit.
Yeah.
It's all talk.
Let's hope that doesn't happen, I guess.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it seems like a can of worms.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to do it.
Yeah, let's hope not. Crime trends in the U.S. cities year-end 2024 update. Key takeaways. This study and supplements previous U.S. crime trends, reports the Council on Criminal Justice with data throughout December 2024. Reported levels of 12 of the 13 offenses covered in this report were lower in 2024 than 2023. Shoplifters was one offense higher in 2024 compared to 2023. Homicide rates in some high homicide cities, including Baltimore, Detroit, St. Louis, have dropped even further, returning to levels from 2014 when national homicide rates were at historic lows. Rates in other cities have largely returned to pre-pandemic levels. So what did you want to focus on here?
I guess I always like to share like some good news with people, and I just like to remind people that yes, there are crime rising in certain parts of the country, certain segments, but actually overall, a lot of these crimes have dropped from compared to whatever the study says. But
Yeah, because this is
and
even before Trump got in. This is like the end of the Biden administration.
Yeah, and I just want to remind people that don't let the fucking media control you and be scared all the time, that there are still a lot of good people out there, that it's not all doom and gloom, and it's not as dangerous as they always make it seem.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need that, so I'll continue reading. Looking at changes in violent offenses from 2023 to 2024, the number of homicides in 29 studied cities providing data for that crime was 16% lower, representing 631 fewer homicides. There were 4% fewer reported aggravated assaults, 15% fewer gun assaults, 6% fewer sexual assaults, and 4% fewer domestic violence incidents. Last year than in 2023, robbery fell by 10%, while carjackings, a type of robbery, decreased by 32%. Property crime trends have been mixed over the last 5 years. There have been fewer residential burglaries, 38% down. Larcenies, 12% in 2024 than 2019. More non-residential burglaries, 12%, and shoplifting 1%. Yeah, so I mean, the lower stuff's a little up, and the more severe stuff's quite a bit more has dropped. But of course, we do have like 2020, 2021, the lockdowns. I mean, we skyrocketed in domestic violence, homicide, everything went up. We lost our fucking minds. So it is like, I'm glad hopefully it went down from like when, all the kids were, and actually, here we go. We got a chart. So what are we looking at here? So carjackings are up. Robbery is a little down. Domestic violence is even less down, but it's down. Sexual assaults significantly lower. I mean, 21%, 26%. Okay. But yeah, this is wild. The 78% up carjackings 2022 to 23, but then down
crazy,
to 25% in 2020. Like, wow.
Nuts.
It's a big jump. Aggravated assault, it's up, but 16, 11, 8, 4. Now it's down to 4, so it's on the decline. Hopefully it's a balance, out and maybe start to drop. That's the trend. So yeah, this is not hopium. These are statistics. These are the real numbers. What do we got? Percent changes in property offenses. What's the high one here? Motor vehicle theft in 2023. Yeah, 101%. Wow. But then
that
it
is a
dropped
very
in 2024
common
to 53%. What do you think that spike was all about? Any idea?
Okay, well, I think I sent another one that specifically addressed juvenile crime. And
yeah, here we go.
It's bad.
Trends in juvenile offenses, what you need to know. Offending by juveniles, youth under 18 has been the subject of significant local and national discourse over the... I hate the fluff. Like, just get... All right, key takeaways. Overall, there have been a general decrease in most forms of juvenile offenses in recent years. Notable exceptions include more frequent use of firearms amongst youth. Yeah, what do you think that's about?
Well, I don't know if it's that one or another one, but if you keep reading, it says there's like, I forget, I think it said like a 65% increase in juvenile homicide.
Correct. Homicides perpetrated by juveniles jumped to 65% from 2016 to 2022, while burglaries down 62%, larceny down 46%, and robberies down 45% experience the steepest declines. Yeah.
Yeah, so based off what I know from law enforcement, like what I've done with trainings, they're telling us right now that the fastest demographic group growing for committing violent crimes are juveniles and women. And I would say some of the most dangerous calls that I've personally been on involving firearms have been juveniles. So I would say...
And you said women too?
Women are committing...
Now, women or
rates.
men pretending to be women, or women pretending to be men? No, I'm serious. Like, because what we're seeing, of course, going across my desk, running DarkDox, is like the alarming rate of these trans shooters and, sometimes mass shooters.
Yeah. I mean, that one, just because I'm more in tune with the school shootings, given my where I work now, that one,
right?
That one I think it was Tennessee that the shooter was trans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple now. I'll find a list. I saw like a good past 4 years. There's something. There's upwards of 26. And they're not just sometimes they say school shooting, but no one got shot. No, these are all homicides. And
Right.
the most recent one is, did you hear about the Zizians?
No, I haven't heard it. No.
Oh, you need to know about this. So Zizians. Who are the Zizians? Associated Press. A Vermont border agent death, the latest violence linked to the cult-like Zizian group. Let's see if this one's like the most updated later. January 2025, Border Patrol agent and Bakhalt die in shootout. Young blood charged. And you can see here on the screen, I mean, they're an attractive bunch. But yeah, they're trans and they're dangerous. And it is nationwide. It's not just the one. There's one with a map. Let me see where it can. We had it on I don't know when we covered this a couple weeks ago. Da, da, da. Let's see, BBC. Look up the Wikipedia. They have a Wikipedia now. Pop a couple of these. So yeah, Zizian's linked to a string of murders, sparking several arrests. Who are the people behind this group? Jack Lasota, 34, allegedly the group's leader of a few dozen followers, known as the Zizians, arrested on Sunday alongside Michelle Zajko, 32, and Daniel Blank, 26, on charges including trespass and obstruction. But is this the one with the map? Yeah, there's the ICE agent that was killed.
Dang, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, no, it's and I mean it's multi-state stabbings, and that one was like the one shooting. Um, but yeah, it's these people. I mean, they're chronically online. They're what Ted Kaczynski would call the over-socialized and under-informed. A lot of them, they're vegan also. Yeah. Allegedly involved in 6 violent deaths across the United States, 2022 to 2025. Federal prosecutors say that Zizians associated with persons of interest and murdered 4 people. David Mayland in Vermont, a U.S. Border Patrol agent. Curtis Lind in California, a landlord. And Richard Rita Zajko in Pennsylvania, the parents of one of the group's members. In addition, Emma Borhian and Ophelia Buchhaupt, a German citizen, both associated with the Zizians, were killed during these altercations. Their beliefs, a small offshoot of rationalist community, which a rationalist community is a movement focused on seeking truth and avoiding cognitive bias, which emerged in the 2000s. Various blogs on the internet, including Overcoming Bias, Less Wrong, and Slate Star Codex. So these are like intellectuals, you could say, but it's like a lot of them, if not I think all of them, are transgenders and vegetarians. This is an odd thing that's popping up here. Yeah. But yeah,
All the more reason to have open carry and stronger Second Amendment rights.
Yeah, I mean, because you look at these people and they're all just like skinny, limp-wristed, dumb, Antifa-looking, losers. And I think, we need to be just a little bit more bold as citizens of this United States. But that means we need to be a little bit more empowered by our local, state, and federal law enforcement. How do you feel about, like, for example, I mean, we're for open carry, but currently, you have to have a concealed weapons permit in order to carry in a lot of states. And there is what's called reciprocity, where, like my concealed carry in Florida is good in, I think, like 30 something states, but like it's not good in California. So even with the CCP, I cannot concealed or open carry in California. Do you feel that we should have like a federal firearm open carry, or do you think it should still be state by state, but we should have guaranteed reciprocity? How should we tackle this?
I mean, I've heard about. I believe there is a bill up for the national concealed carry reciprocity would be treated like similar to like a driver's license, where if you had a driver's license from your state and it
Right.
was valid, it would be valid in all 50. Which that is great, but I'm more for like national constitutional carry. I think the
Hell
federal
yeah.
government should say that all states.
Yeah, I mean, and do you think that's something Trump could do with an executive
I
order, being like, well, I am, as the president of the United States, I hereby declare all firearm laws in all 50 states, to be null and void and in contrary to the Second Amendment. Would that work?
That's a great question. I mean, I think John McAfee said he would do that if he was president, but
Yeah, then they whacked him.
yeah.
I actually got to hang out with him the year he died. He
No
came to Hack
way.
Miami. He was the keynote speaker, and we
Wow.
drank Incredible Hulks all weekend. Have you ever had that?
No, I don't even know what that
An
is.
Incredible Hulk is when you get hypnotic, which is like that, like aqua blue. I guess it's like
Okay.
a liqueur or something,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
Hennessy, which is kind of it's a Scotch, I think, right, or
Okay.
bourbon,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
when you mix them together, it's like bright, Incredible Hulk green. It's fantastic,
Wow.
and it gets you drunk. So like we were just like hanging out on Miami Beach with a bunch of hackers, and like he was just telling us about like all the craziest shit. I mean, a lot of the stuff that everyone knows, a lot of the stuff that was in his Dead Man Switch. He was going off on, and just his crazy because he was a wild cat. I mean, he did things I didn't really agree with, like where like in Panama they had you know, like he would have like 17 and 18-year-old girls where it's illegal. They don't give a fuck in Panama. And
Yeah.
like they're prostitutes. And his thing was he liked to hang in a hammock and defecate on these women. And like they agreed to
The
it. They
fuck?
got paid to do it. But yeah, he was a wild cat. I tell you what. Can you imagine a president doing that? Like, I mean, I guess it's not that far fetched, right?
Right.
With the presidents that we have had.
That's funny.
Man. Juvenile offenders total accidents was about 14% lower, and total numbers of juveniles involved was 18% lower, and 2022 was than 2016, the beginning of the study period. So yeah, you're seeing some decreases here, so that's good. But yeah, the homicides, that's alarming. And I mean,
Yeah.
in a lot of cases, from your experience, where are they getting these guns? Are they stealing them from their parents?
They steal them from the cars. Is how they get them.
Yo, so I had a Smith and Wesson 38 special when I was living in Maitland, and my my ex girlfriend, she just never locked her car, and like so
Mm.
sometimes I would like I had her key and I had it like locked in her lockbox, her glove compartment. And but like she left the thing unlocked, and those glove compartments, I mean, that's easy to pry open really once you're in the car.
Oh yeah.
It's like I don't mind it with like a two-step, whatever. I try not to leave like guns in my vehicle anyway. I mean, it's your right. It's a castle doctrine here in Florida. So I mean, you have the right to use that as like your domicile or whatever. But like, yeah, I mean, you got to be really careful because and I filed a police report with the Maitland Police Department, and they didn't get back to me at all. I had to call them back after I left a message like a couple days later, and then I didn't hear back again. So I actually had to like go in there and file a police report in person. But yeah, there's a lot of that going on, huh? Like guns being stolen out of cars here in Florida.
Oh, that is the number one place guns are stolen. I think nationwide, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because
It's
like it's like I kind of
so
like
easy
keep
to
it in the
do.
van at times out of convenience because like like I'm coming and going in shorts, and this is a good example of like why we should have open carry. And like we need to calm down about like, oh, I can see an outline of a gun or whatever, because like that's exactly why I tend to keep it in my vehicle, because like if I'm just like wearing like shorts or a swimsuit, it's Florida, so like
Right.
I'm not trying to like get hit with a misdemeanor, I think it is, right, for brandishing, if like you're not like waving it around or whatever.
Yeah, I think if you, I think if you like temporarily display it by accident, it's fine. Briefly, I don't think it's really a crime. If you like,
But that's subjective within the ranks,
yeah,
correct?
it's just gonna like someone's gonna call. I've never actually, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really know the law in terms of I've never been called for that. So,
Really?
but
That's good.
yeah, I've never actually
I'm
had that
glad it's rare
happen.
because yeah, I remember when I was living in Miami, I was actually biking. I didn't know about like I thought brand dashing was literally pulling it out. So I had it like I was wearing like an Adidas jacket and it was
Hmm.
thin and I just had the gun in the zipper pocket. You could clearly see the outline of it on my stomach.
Right,
But like yeah, the cops like I was just like in a shop walking around and it was like my hand wasn't in it, my hand wasn't in my pocket. You could just see I
uh-huh.
had a gun in my jacket. If you like look at me the right way.
Right,
And it wasn't translucent or anything. It was literally just like the physical three-dimensional outline of a revolver. It's very obvious. Like I didn't have it in any kind of holster or anything. And they were
right.
like, yeah, that's technically brandishing. So they asked for my concealed carry. They asked, to see the gun, and they ran the license for it. But like, if you saw something like that, would you react that way or not at all?
Yeah, I would say that's definitely sounds like something we would do in Miami. No, I would not react that way. No.
Interesting. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I just figured from that exchange, like I was like, okay, well, like from that point, I'm very like by the books with everything I do. At least I try to be. So like from that point on, I was like very cautious, and like I got like a something to tuck it into and tuck it into my belt, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I mean
would
that's one of the reasons. Like, so maybe if we like relax some of these gun laws for citizens, which is our right. It's our Second Amendment right. Then maybe we would have less thefts of guns from cars that would then also, by butterfly effect, prevent some of these murders, some of these homicides.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, never thought about that, but yeah, absolutely. All right, wrapping up here. Alabama city divided over whether to abolish police department accused of culture of corruption. What's this one about?
Yeah, I believe that they indicted like the whole police department.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's see. As
Yeah.
a small Alabama city weighs whether to disband its police department accused of having, quote, rampant culture of corruption, unquote, residents are split over how to weigh the need for public safety against longstanding misconduct. The city council chambers in Hinceville, Alabama, were filled to capacity on Thursday evening and forcing some to crane their necks through an open door to hear the emotional testimony that took place. Man, I'm getting like flashbacks to like when I was at these city council meetings over like mask mandates and stuff like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I wonder if this. So I saw like a while back like video. Is this that town? No, that was in Arizona where like they have like a just crazy police department run by the sheriff where they're just pulling over everybody. Like they just have police checkpoints everywhere, and they're just pulling over everybody for no good reason, and just
Hmm.
like telling people to get out of their cars, and just arresting people for like driving down the road. There's like a bunch of footage of it. Cops have gotten arrested going to investigate this place, and they're like, all right, let's see how this plays out, arrest me. And including an FBI agent also got arrested. Have you heard about that one?
I have not heard about that one specifically, but it does not surprise me, and that's all the more important for people to remain engaged in their local elections and the sheriff, and all the more importance of holding these people accountable. Because if you get the wrong one in, as you can see, bad things happen. So definitely want to pay attention to your local elections.
Absolutely. All right. Well, yeah, we're at 9:04. Is there anything else you want to tackle? This was fantastic, by the way. You're a delight, and I would love to have you on a regular basis. So just let me know whenever you're available, or there's something you want to talk about. I'm down.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, feel free to ask if you have any other questions. But I really appreciate you coming on. Yeah, I'd love to come back on. It was great. We can talk about whatever
Oh, we have
topics
one
or
more.
questions.
Just kidding.
Sure.
Yeah, well, that's great. Supreme Court upholds rules requiring background checks on ghost guns. Yeah, this is a hot topic. What's your take on ghost guns?
I'm all for it. I have a ghost gunner. I have ghost guns.
Oh
It's
man,
bullshit.
I gotta meet up with you. We gotta go shooting. I've
Yeah.
never shot one. I want to try these things.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, and hopefully Trump with his executive order, since the Second Amendment is a priority that he whatever it said or whatever something like that. That hopefully that they'll reinterpret this and it'll just fix itself and they'll just get rid of it. We'll see, but yeah, I know it's BS. It's okay to have a homemade gun. I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I
should
see
be
them. They're like
completely-
slingshots. I mean, first of all, they're not that powerful. Right? I mean,
Well,
some of yours are.
so I'm buying the 80% ones. Like it is regular,
Oh.
like it's aluminum. So it just it's basically a desktop CNC machine
Yeah.
that will finish that piece of metal into. the
So
actual
so
load.
these are like you're saying these ghost guns. They can actually shoot like commercial like 9mm rounds, 45.
Yeah, I have a
whatever?
5.56. I have a 9mm, both ghost guns.
Oh wow. So like you can make them essentially like you said 5.56, so like 223, 5 like AR-15. You could make an AR-15.
Yeah, I got an AR. Yeah, I got an AR ghost. Yep.
What? I had no
So
idea. Because
so
I've just
all you
seen.
got-
I haven't really looked into it in a while, so I just remember when they were first starting to do it, they were just these like little like kind of like single shooter like this. They've come a long way, I guess. Yeah, Noah. I know he's been messing with that over in California, which I think that's outlawed over there. I don't know.
It is, but like you really, I mean, obviously be careful, but I mean, see what Ghost Gunner came out with a 0% lower, where it's literally just a block of aluminum, like it's nothing, and it will mill out the whole thing to completion.
Wow. Yeah.
So all you gotta do is buy the lower, and then what you do is you buy like the kit, like the barrel and everything else. You just buy a kit offline that doesn't have the lower because it's all just accessories, and you literally just assemble it, and then you have a gun.
And you can have that mailed to your house, right? You don't need like
Basically, what I got from the Supreme Court ruling is that now companies basically have to be a lot more careful about how they sell them. So like you can only buy the lower with no other tools. You have to buy like the tools like from somewhere else entirely. It's like they're just more strict about like how easy it is you're making it to assemble it, which is still dumb, but
Interesting. Yeah, CNN says the Supreme Court on Wednesday upheld the Biden-era federal regulations on ghost guns, mail order kits that allow people to build untraceable weapons at home, handling gun control groups. Handling gun control groups a rare win at the conservative high court. I love the fucking CNN spin on this. Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote the opinion. A 7-2 majority that included both liberal and conservative justice. Who are these conservative justices? Is what I want to.
yeah, I don't know how the fuck they ruled. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get
Wow.
it. Yeah, they fucked it pretty
Bought
bad.
and paid for.
Yeah. No way, no.
Do you think there might
But,
be some like lobbying from like Smith and Wesson, Glock?
100%, because I honestly
it's
believe
not the
the
left
future.
maybe even at all.
I personally believe that the future of the firearms industry is homemade firearms. They already have completely plastic firearms. I really believe that there'll be a day where like you'll just go to the gun store and they'll just make it for you on the spot, like exactly how you want.
Oh my god,
Like-
that sounds awesome.
And then, or you'll just be able to do it to your house, So I really feel like it's going to be a lot more like customizable, and like to the point where like these gun stores are going to be selling more, not so much the firearm, like the experience of like making or customizing the firearm.
Neat. Majority has moved to the right on gun laws. Asked for comment on decision, Justice Department spokesperson said the administration would continue to support and defend the Second Amendment rights of all Americans. The Supreme Court case didn't involve the Second Amendment, though, and the Justice Department didn't respond to a question about whether the Trump administration stands by the ATF regulation. Yeah, I mean, this needs to be brought to Trump's attention because, of course, as we all know, without a Second Amendment, like we're screwed. That's it. Like, That's the
Yeah.
only thing keeping the U.S., in my opinion, from becoming a totalitarian state. Do you agree, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is absolutely a crucial right, and it is definitely a deterrent from like if there's already too much government intrusion, there would be a lot more if we didn't have it. For sure.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that was awesome, man. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing all this stuff. And let me know next time you want to come on.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thanks again for having me.
Oh, yeah. Well, that concludes today's DarkDox Digest. We will be back tomorrow, Thursday the 3rd, with the conclusion of this week. So, once again, beware, take care, and cash.app/DarkDox and alexjonesstore.com/DarkDox. Try the CMOS. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. Captain Charlie Bravo.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order. It's Christian Coffins.
DarkDox, 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 Digest. DarkDox, 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 Digest. DarkDox, 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 Digest. DarkDox, 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 Digest.
Welcome to the April 2nd, 2025, Wednesday edition of the DarkDox Digest with your host, Christian Coffins.
DarkDox, 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 Digest. DarkDox, 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 Digest. If you value this program, donate what you can at cash.app/dark